Hi there, welcome to my channel. My name is Clara Z and I do videos on luxury handbags and fashion items. So a couple of weeks ago, I did a video on the Hermes chase is over for me and I wanted to talk about life transitions and it was really great. I got a lot of sharing in the comment section below and it was really great just to hear back from you, to hear your thoughts and hear about your life and your life transitions. I thought it would be great to do this kind of over a live, but I realize not every one of you can make the live and everybody's in a different time zone. So I thought it would be kind of nice to treat this as kind of like a chit chat over the video and share some of your comments so that we could kind of share the wisdom with everyone else. Now, just for full disclaimer, I'm not saying that I'm no longer buying anything luxury and that I am doing away with all my handbags. No, that is not what this is about. It's really just to have a casual chit chat for those of you who are in a bit of a life transition. For me, I'm kind of end stage career and thinking more about what I'm going to do after retirement. So I'm in a different phase of life. I no longer have a high profile corporate job where I'm going to 6-star hotels, presenting to hundreds of thousands of people or seeing other clients or people in my industry, where carrying a luxury handbag was actually quite common. Where I worked within the financial industry in Hong Kong, and so it was quite common to be carrying and using luxury items. But now I have moved to Canada and the lifestyle here is different. My career is on a different path, and I'm really thinking more about what the next 10 or 20 years are going to look like. So let's get into some of these comments and we'll just treat it as a casual chit chat. So first comment was from KK Love CC. Thank you for your comment. She's also here on YouTube if you also want to follow her. So she said it totally makes sense and you have enough amazing pieces to still enjoy luxury handbag when you want to. And this is really true. I did accumulate some handbags and some jewelry items early into mid-stage career. I really enjoyed some of them. Some of them I did make mistakes and buy the wrong thing. But towards the end, I think I was able to curate it down to a number of bags and jewelry items that I felt I would be happy to use. So I still have things like my Kelly 28 at the back, and I still have my Kelly 25 in the cellier, which I really love. But if I had to be really frank with you, what I'm using daily for work is my Celine Romy bag. It is in the large size. It's very discreet, it's easy to use. I carry it on public transit, and honestly, the people in public transit here have no mercy for your bag. So if you're carrying it like this and someone's trying to squeeze on the train, they're going to be crushing your bag, pulling on it, or they could be using their laptop bag to scrape against my bag. Now, thankfully, this bag is still in great condition. I still highly recommend this bag. But can you imagine I'm on public transit and someone takes their laptops and bangs against this bag? My heart would so sink. So, you know, for the lifestyle I have right now where you don't really see luxury handbags everywhere you go, this is really good for my lifestyle now. And do I regret some of the bags I previously owned? No, it was just a different stage of my life and it was just something else that I was into at that time. So if you're young and you still aspire to buy different bags that you aspire to attain and you do it in a healthy way, yeah, definitely go for it. But it's true, I do have a very well curated handbag and I can use them when I want to. But if I want to be really honest, I'm actually using a lot of really casual handbags on a day-to-day basis. And on the weekend, do I carry nice handbags? I do. But if I do, I'm likely carrying my Chanel 22, still luxury, but more low-key. I have my Bottega bag, which is really low-key, and you can't see any logo on here. And, you know, for all I care, people might just think it's a raffia bag, which is also okay. And if I'm going somewhere just super casual, like to the park, everyone carries a Lululemon bag here in Canada, okay? Everyone. So I'm using this for the park, and then I use this, my COS bag, which is more casual. And if I'm just really craving the nice Hermes leather, I'm using my Picotin 18 bag. And of course, my mini Lindy bag when I really need a nice cross-body bag. But as you can see, I have more than enough bags to use on a regular basis. And to be honest, I have the nice bags, but seriously, am I going to be carrying a Kelly 28 to go to the supermarket? Probably not. So another comment is good video and points, and it's unfortunate that you feel unsafe just for carrying a specific type of bag. I would not like to live in a place like that. Well, you know, there are unsafe places anywhere in the world, and I wouldn't say I live in a totally unsafe place. Canada is generally okay, but I think you just need to be mindful because even when you go traveling, you could still get mugged, right? So like anything else, I think you just need to be careful and aware of your surroundings. And of course, if you're going into an area where it's well known you will get mugged, then yeah, don't carry your expensive bag. And there are some places in the world which are generally safer, like Hong Kong was pretty safe, and I know Singapore is super safe. Then yeah, I would just carry them all around all the time. So I chose to move back to Canada, and I really love my lifestyle here. But yeah, definitely I'm going to be more careful if I'm carrying a nice bag to go out. I haven't seen major theft, but you know, like anything else, you just need to be really careful. So another comment, so I guess it depends on where you go. I'm in Richmond. I guess still have Chanel, LV. Definitely see more if you go shopping in downtown. So for those of you who don't know where Richmond is, it is an area of Greater Vancouver where a lot of Asians like to live because there's a lot of Asian food there. And it's a really convenient place if you prefer to do a lot of Asian grocery shopping and eating. It's all in there. It's kind of like your own kind of hub. You don't really need to leave that area. So maybe because there's more Asians, you still tend to see a bit more handbags there. So I have seen some Chanel and LV, but if I need to be brutally honest, actually I see a lot more in Hong Kong. I still see a bit of Chanel and LV here and there, but to be honest, I think the majority of people are carrying non-branded bags. I actually work in downtown, so I've seen a couple bags here and there, maybe an LV, maybe a Dior. I haven't really seen Chanel. Maybe it's because I'm not really shopping at the high-end luxury shops as much, but generally because it's just raining here all the time. Imagine it kind of like semi-typhoon weather in Asia all the time. You wouldn't want to be carrying your nice handbags around. And if you're in a public transit where you can get swished or your bags could get smashed, you probably don't want to be carrying a really nice handbag. So another comment from Joel, where are you in Canada? I see people with designer handbags everywhere in Toronto, and depending on your friend circle, my friend uses luxury designer bags. So I'm on the West Coast in the Greater Vancouver area, and I haven't been to Toronto recently. I don't make a lot of work trips out east. So, and I agree, it depends on your friend circle. Having said that, I actually went to happy hour maybe a week ago with a bunch of girls. They are high profile, kind of senior type of roles within the financial institutions, and they also own Hermes bags. But I noticed on the day that we went out for happy hour, nobody was carrying an Hermes bag. I think I was carrying my usual Celine bag, and then one of them was carrying Prada, and then I can't remember what everyone else was wearing, but it really was not Chanel, LV, and I also work in a corporate office, and I don't really see people bringing in these expensive designer handbags into work. Now, perhaps if I change my circle of friends, a lot of them would carry luxury, but actually a lot of my friends that I grew up in Canada, they don't wear luxury handbags and they don't use them. So yeah, I guess it depends on who your friends are too. But even having said so, when I go out to coffee shops or restaurants, I don't really see them. They're really not that common relative to what I've been seeing in, say, like Hong Kong or Singapore. Next question, will you do blog sales? And the answer is no. I actually sold the majority of my bags during COVID, knowing that I would eventually move, and also just before I left Hong Kong. And I prefer to actually sell them through consignment because it's just too much trouble, and then I need to worry if the bag makes it to the other person and whether the other person will scam me or if they find something about the bag they don't like. I just like doing it through consignment. It's just really good. Those people are the professionals. They take hundreds of photos so that the person is happy with it and they guarantee the bag on my behalf, and I don't have to worry about scamming. So I was really happy to consign all of my bags while I was in Hong Kong, and that worked out really great. Next comment is from Lux Love Journey. So I would prefer jewelry at this point. It's something I can enjoy and wear as I get older. This is so true. Actually, before I was buying a lot of handbags, I was actually buying a lot of jewelry. And I think this is still something I really enjoy. So a lot of the pieces that you see I'm wearing, I've actually had some of these for maybe more than a decade or more. I started out with jewelry before I started getting into handbags, and I like that they're smaller items, they're more discreet. So say if I'm on public transit or if I'm at work and I don't really want to show my jewelry, I just kind of like tuck it in my shirt like this, or I just pull my sleeves over my arms. Rings I can kind of change, or I can kind of hide them in my pockets. So I actually really love jewelry. I think you also get better cost per wear if you get some really good staple pieces. And I am also a big believer in jewelry. I have curated down my jewelry quite a bit to just the pieces that I will generally wear every day, and I am really happy with them. My main advice is to get pieces that are classic and everlasting, kind of like your little black dress, and you can never go wrong. So a couple comments saying congratulations and good luck in your new environment. Thank you. And for the love of bags, great video, Clara. Loved your perspective on handbags and lifestyle change. Joe, hi Joe. Thanks for your comment. A refreshing video to watch. Loved your honest take and the evolution of your lifestyle. Certainly a journey most of us will need to go through as our careers change and later on enjoy retirement. Our stuff needs to evolve with us, and bags, even H bags, are after all just stuff. And that is so true. I was also speaking to Luxstock Lee. If you don't know him, he's on Instagram, has a fabulous collection, and I know he's currently selling off some of his bags. They are in excellent condition. Definitely go check him out on Instagram. So he has been selling off some of his bags. He didn't state why. For myself, it was due to a transition. So as I mentioned, I was in a career where I was frequently going to 5-6 stars hotel. I was fine dining. I was doing a lot of hospitality. I was in a lot of corporate meetings. So it was kind of okay to be more polished looking. You don't have to wear luxury to be polished looking, but you know, it was kind of the lifestyle in Hong Kong, and it was quite common to see girls in a lot of luxury wear and luxury handbags. But my lifestyle has changed. I moved to Canada. I am kind of semi-retired, and most days you'll see me in hoodies and leggings. And honestly, in leggings, I don't have to be carrying around this bag every day, and it's a bit overdone, especially if I'm just going out to the neighborhood cafe. Everyone's wearing Lululemon, and having that 1 year break, it just made me realize that I was just in leggings and hoodies and t-shirts and shorts all day. And because I didn't really have to go out to really see anyone all the time, I was just using what was the easiest to use, something lightweight. I had to run a bunch of personal errands, and I just wasn't using my luxury bags. And so it was kind of a preview to my post-retirement lifestyle, and it really made me think about, you know, do I really need all this stuff? Because, you know, getting rid of it one day is going to be a real pain. Now, if you have people to pass them along to, that's great. I don't have children, and so this is something I eventually have to think about somewhere down the road, how to get rid of the items. Eventually, maybe when I'm much older. Next comment, Heather White. Maybe Canada is telling you to get a move. I wear low-key Hermes. A few people clock them, I think. I don't think of them as designer. I think of them as high quality that will last forever. I have a lot of crossbody mini bags like Mini Looney or Mini 2424. So I think that's great. I mean, if you feel pretty confident wearing them to go out on your regular errands, that's great. I would do that also, maybe more with my Picotin or my Mini Lindy. And I guess if I drove more, I might use some of my slightly higher end bags a bit more because I probably feel more safe when I'm in my personal car. It also depends on where you're going because obviously not all bags are suited for different environments. Another comment from Mama Harriet, agree, I am moved from Asia to Europe and big lifestyle change, so all your thoughts resonate. And that's true for anyone who may be moving from the east to the west. It is a different lifestyle. There are different luxuries that you get in the West versus Asia, and then there's some luxuries you get in the Asia versus West, but lifestyle change, and I think we're all influenced by our surroundings. Some people are, some people aren't, but by and large, I would say there has been some influence because I'm definitely using my Lululemon bag a lot more than my Hermes bags. So another comment from the 3D Spage. I moved from LA to San Diego, and it's a much more casual lifestyle. I'm semi-retired now, but fully retired as of early December. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you. And don't go to the places I used to go. And that is so true. When I was in corporate Hong Kong, Chanel was just downstairs, Hermes was across the street, and basically Dior, Fendi, Balenciaga, all the luxury stores, they were just within 2 minutes walk. So it was really easy to go to those places. Now that I'm in Vancouver, there aren't really as many of those places. I still work downtown and I could walk to them 10-15 minutes, but generally I'm just too tired. It's always dark and raining all the time, and I always feel so cold. I'm always like, I want to go home right away. So it also depends on your environment, right? So I'm not exposing myself to those places as much, so I am less tempted. So having all my designer bags, shoes, and jewelry doesn't fit in as much, and same with me, but because I love them, I'm using them. And so it's not to say I won't use my beautiful bags as shown below, but I probably won't be using them as frequently as, for example, I won't be carrying my Kelly 28 into the office. Plus my bags, newest, are much more understated. And they're from the row, and I love the bags from the row, but unfortunately we don't have too many of the row stores around here, so it's hard for me to touch and feel them. So yeah, it's a brand I might get into later, but even my other designer bags like my Chanel 22 mini are casual, so they work. Being that your Kelly is return and Birkins are more of a tote, they can be very casual, at least in my opinion. So I'd wear them and enjoy them. It's so nice seeing you be well. Thank you so much. And I really agree. So my Chanel 22 I have in the small and the mini. I do wear them. They are a bit more casual. And if I'm not feeling safe, I just turn the logo the other way, and usually people can't really tell. And yes, I agree, the Kelly is return and the Birkin is more informal, but you know what? I just feel like there's so much social media now that a lot more people know what a Birkin and a Kelly are. And because the economic climate is really just not that great in North America right now, I'm just very careful about when and where I'll use them. Now, I haven't seen any big cases of purse snatching, but hey, I don't want to be the first one either, right? So Kat L says, excellent video, babe. Love your amazing transition. Looking forward to more. Thanks, Kat. And it's amazing to see you also in Singapore. And I know she's doing some unboxing, so she has a bit of transition, but she's also buying some amazing bags. Definitely check her out if you haven't already. Next comment from I am Jorio. There are a lot of luxury handbags in downtown Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal, but once you move to the suburbs or even outer districts, they will be hard to see. It's the same for most countries, just that Hong Kong and Singapore are cities with no real suburbs. Also, as a recent transplant, you'll feel less comfortable and want to blend in. That's natural, but I agree that there's not many opportunities to carry designer, so most of my bags are still contemporary. So yes, I agree there are more in the city, but compared to Hong Kong and Singapore, say for example in the central district in Hong Kong, you don't really need to go on Instagram or even to a luxury shop. You just see them walking around everywhere. Like, you know, every couple of minutes, there's like a croc and then there's like a custom order. It's just very different. And a lot of my friends in Hong Kong will definitely generally have at least one or two designer bags. So it definitely is a lot more common. I know you do see them here in Canada or even the States, but definitely I think you do see a lot more in Hong Kong and Singapore. And it's so common that even, say, for example, and it's not always the case, if you go to work, there are some offices where you could be judged for the handbag you wear. And I know this is not so common in North America, but in some offices, and it wasn't particular to my offices, but I have heard of stories where there's a group called the Handbag Women's Gang. And to be a part of that group or to be a part of the clique group, you need to be carrying a certain bag, like a certain Chanel or a certain Hermes. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but it's definitely a lot more common in Asia. And just for the record, I was never a part of those kind of clique groups. I only bought handbags because I personally loved and used them. But it is so common that you know that if there are groups of gangs or women's or groups that are all into bags, you know how common that is. And speaking of suburbs, there are parts of Hong Kong and Singapore that are further away from the city. But even when you go to those parts, and again, it depends on the district, because like in any other major city, there are some suburbs where people are super wealthy, and then there are some suburbs where most people are just not using luxury at all. So Hong Kong is a major international city, and I do believe that as in any other major international cities, there's going to be places where it's, you know, you just don't see as many luxury and places where you see a lot more luxury. So as some of you know, I also have another channel that talks about Sanrio toys. And sometimes to go see those toys, I have to go to shopping centers whereby the area is not too wealthy. But even in those areas, you will still see luxury handbags. So this is how prevalent it is in Hong Kong. I'm not saying every girl will wear them, but it definitely is really, really common. So if you ever want to see all the luxury handbags and you don't want to walk in the shop, Hong Kong is actually a really good place to see a lot of these designer handbags, especially in areas like Central, Tsim Sha Tsui. Yeah, you just sit at the coffee shop. I guarantee you will see a lot of the latest trends in handbags just at the coffee shop. Next comment from Oksana, who is also here on YouTube. Highly recommend her channel. She also does a lot of reviews on great handbags like Chanel, LV, and Hermes. Totally vibing with you, Clara. I made some changes in my life. I travel more in the winter to Europe. Wow, that's amazing. And I still love my H bags, but using them in Canada is limited. So I still love my Hermes bags. I'm not giving up on them. I still love them. And if you're into them, go for it. It's definitely worth your time and energy if this is what you're into. If it's not your thing, then that's also okay. Then maybe your time and energy is on something else. That's completely fine. But using them in Canada is limited. So yeah, for some of us, it is limited. And I can't speak for anyone else, but for me, my opportunities to use my Hermes bags is a lot more limited compared to my time in Hong Kong. Another comment from Stuart, very true. Age change, taste change, lifestyle change, all towards carefree lifestyle and good health focus. This is so true. As we age, we probably need less. Our taste may change. For example, I like things that are just easy and comfortable and generally maintenance free. Lifestyle change, definitely moving to a different part of the world. And even the places that I go to, the things I'm doing, and the type of work I'm doing is just so different. And because of that, I don't necessarily feel that I need so many luxury handbags anymore. Doesn't mean I'm offloading them. I did some, but no, I'm still keeping some for personal enjoyment. Now, it's true. If I was like, say, turning 70, I might really have to think about at that time offloading more of my luxury handbags because, you know, who's going to take care of it when I leave one day? That's something to think about. And I probably at that point would prefer to get rid of them myself instead of having someone who has no idea about luxury handbags doing whatever to it, right? So, yeah, maybe eventually I will get rid of the last couple of bags that I have. But at this point, I'm going to try to keep them and occasionally enjoy them if I can. Next comment is for Arcilla Makali 2113. Amazing thought about your luxury items. I love whatever you have. In future, you can sell your bags and buy a new one that you can use for the rest of your life when you're retired. So to be honest, I don't think I can just own like a few bags. Maybe at some point I will, but like at this point, I'm kind of happy with my kind of small rotation of bags. Lightweight and small size that can fit your needs. Lightweight, definitely. Small size, I don't know about that. I think that no matter how digital we get, I'm still going to need glasses, tissues, hand sanitizer, keys, etc. So I don't think I can get too small, okay? Small is okay if I'm just going to the park, but if I'm going out, I definitely need a bit more because things like tissues and glasses probably can't but be replaced by my phone at this point. I love Birkin, but thinking rather than a picotin because you can use anytime and it's classic, which is true. I definitely have used my picotin a lot more in the time that I've owned the Picotin over my Birkin 25, which I no longer own because it's just not my thing. I hate it when I cannot be hands-free. I mean, with me carrying my phone and my coffee, it was just an awkward situation. And it's more kind of a ladies do lunch type of bag. It wasn't even a bag I used for work. And so it just wasn't having a place in my lifestyle. And then on weekends, I have plenty of other bags that are a lot more carefree. And so that's why I let it go. So right now, all luxury is getting expensive. Have you seen the price of some of these Chanel bags? I went in there and I believe even like the walk is like getting close to 5,000 Canadian. That's so crazy. I mean, I bought my walk only around when it was like $1,000 or $2,000, but it's just insane. I can't even imagine going close to a walk for that price. And the crazy thing is that I've been away from Canada for 20 years. The wages have largely remained like flat. So if your designer items are going up 500 times or even property and your wages are still the same at a high tax bracket, no, that's kind of out of my budget, right? So even the jewelries, food, shoes, food, at some point, I'd rather save the money and vacation a lot on the memories. And when you're older, you will not regret. You stay healthy and live a great life, my dear. Have a great day. So it's true. Everything is just getting really expensive. Some of the jewelry that I bought more than 1 or 2 decades ago, it's a lot more expensive. So the 16 stone ring, I think some of you will know this ring from Tiffany's. I bought this like maybe 15 years ago. I can't remember, but it was a lot cheaper. But ever since all the price inflation, LVMH buying Tiffany, that's a sign they're going to jack up all the prices, right? Everything is just getting a lot more expensive. And is our salary going up 400 or 500 times? I don't think so. Well, okay, if you're really young and you had a minimum pay job and your salary went up a lot, that's great. But for a lot of us, I don't think our salaries have gone up that much on an annual basis. At least it's not going up annually at the rate at which Chanel is doing their price increases. So it's like a negative net if you think about it, if you're still buying those, because those are going up at a much higher rate than the average salary. So I agree at this point in my life. I know not everyone is at the same stage. I'd rather save my money. And, I heard recently on a podcast, the money you don't spend is your wealth. And that is sometimes so true. But I'm actually a lot more concentrating on things like health because that's really important to me. And doesn't cost a whole lot because I just spend more time and energy on that instead of spending the time doom scrolling through a lot of pictures on the internet on the latest fashion trends. I still look, but I probably don't spend as much time on it anymore. I'm actually looking at more stuff and ways to improve my health. I still do some shopping, but it's probably not as much luxury shopping anymore. Next comment is from ET8 Lynette. I kind of resonate. Been also thinking in a few years to semi-retire. Do I still need these luxury bags? And what bags will suit my lifestyle then? Thanks for sharing. Kind of done with chasing bags, so I should enjoy the current collection. So yeah, I don't know how old you are, but if you ever want to kind of consider what it's like to semi-retire, then if you ever have like a break for a longer period of time, I had a 1-year break. It was like a good preview of what retirement would be like. And it was really eye-opening. I really wasn't frequenting a lot of these stores as often because I was just not near them. And I was doing different things. I was exercising a lot. I was doing a lot of grocery runs. And I was just doing other stuff with my life and doing something like learning pickleball. And I'm not going to carry my Hermes to the public pickleball court, right? Can you imagine? Either my bag gets smashed or stolen. It's like a public park. I'm definitely just wearing my Lululemon bag, if a bag at all, or I'm just slipping my ID in my pockets and my keys, and then I'm just in the park that way, right? So yeah, it's definitely something to think about. I mean, what kind of places are you going to be hanging out at? Where are the places you're going to be going? And do you need 20 bags for that occasion? Like, do you need 20 Hermes bags for that occasion? And if you do, that's great. Or if you just want them to collect, there's nothing wrong with that, just to admire and use if you want to. But for me personally, I prefer to use my stuff. So yeah, it's something to think about, and it's good to have this sharing just within the community to have a chat about what this is all about, right? I totally apologize. This is turning into a really long video, but I think it's really good to kind of have this chat. So you don't even have to look at me, just listen to this as a podcast in your ears, and it's just good to just have a chat as just kind of like girls in a room. Another comment from Chris T. Thank you very much. Another follower of mine. Thank you for your comment. I can totally relate to this. When I used to work in the town area, I always carried a designer bag. So yes, this was me in corporate Hong Kong. I always carry a designer bag. Well, towards the end, I did kind of use like some non-designer bags, but for the most part, I was carrying Chanel, Prada, occasionally Hermes, etc. But after changing my work environment, where 60% of my job is work from home, my bag choices change. And that is so true. Especially here in North America, I noticed that a lot of people actually don't go to the office. They will work from home. And if you're working from home a lot, you probably don't need as many kind of like nice bags and clothes if you're just home all the time. When I go to the office, most of my colleagues use backpacks since they're on a hot desking system. That is really true. And we need to carry our laptops back and forth. So that was true towards the end for me too, because I was carrying my because I was carrying my laptop back and forth. And so I really needed a nice laptop bag. Now I did buy a really nice one, and you may have seen it in previous videos, but yeah, I was using that because there is no way, okay, I'm going to put my bag in an expensive handbag and destroy my bag based on a computer that I don't even own. It's like a corporate computer. And because they were a bit cheap, right? And so they're not going to give you the latest and greatest light one. You know, it's usually the heavy and bulky ones, right? And so there was no way I was going to destroy my expensive bag via a cheap computer. So anyways, it just makes more sense practically. Priorities definitely shift over time. So yeah, that is so true. And if there comes a point I need to be lugging my laptop back and forth, definitely I am not going to be using an expensive handbag that has the potential to be destroyed by a cheap laptop. Next comment is from James Sydney. 2737, thank you for your comment. I'm in the same mindset and have been for some time. As much as I agree that the Hermes Birkin and Kelly are so classic and best craftsmanship available, I totally agree. I always thought they are so impractical, especially as you get older. Definitely the Kelly, yeah. It's like you gotta do the knee jerk thing to open your bag. I get it. And, you know, I don't know if I want to be doing that knee-jerk thing when I'm like 80. Does it even look elegant? Am I going to lose balance and break my hip? Anyways, my mom is nearing 80. Oh, we're just talking about the age 80. And she's still wearing her one and only crossbody bag. Gosh, am I going to be like that? You know, like Le Sport Sac crossbody? I can understand it. It's lightweight. It's non-fuss. It's kind of like water resistant. In our older lifestyle stage, you want something that is lightweight, fuss-free, and able to get in and out of with one hand, which is kind of true. I'm not even 80 and I already like kind of think like that. So the Birkin and Kelly just doesn't suit that lifestyle at all. I agree. I'm so happy I didn't waste my time and money going on the Hermes journey. Congratulations. To each their own. And I'm sure now you have a lot of money left over to do other things so that when you're 80, you don't have to fuss about the same thing. As I get older, I appreciate more and more the practicality of LV canvas bags. I like LV too, but you know, just be careful. The Vegeta, you know, that can also be high maintenance, and found my perfect day-to-day style in the Speedy 20. Oh, it is a very handy bag. Again, just careful of Vegeta, but I see here you've written that you're using the Demia Ben. So yeah, definitely it ticks all my boxes and will serve me for years to come. That's great. And you know what? I think ultimately at the end of anybody's handbag journey, it's just a great feeling, right? If you find a bag that suits you for many occasions, you get your cost per wear, and sometimes you don't know what that bag is maybe until it's like later stages of your kind of handbag journey. But you know, it's really great if you can find like the one. There is never the one, okay? But you know, there's like a couple usually, you know, that you end up liking and gravitating, and you get great cost per wear, and that's great. I'm really happy for you, and congratulations for not going into the Hermes ditch like some of us, including moi. Okay, Carrie 8088 Bravo, a very refreshing and realistic video. Yeah, I do want to do this because this is what's real, right? I'm not coming to you all polished, you know, in my heels and my Chanel dress and my Hermes handbag. You know, this is the real thing. This is as real as it gets. Maria Sat 9953. I totally agree with you. I don't wear designer items to work, with the exception of items that are not obvious. If you know, you know. Yeah, I'm kind of like that too. I'm now in a low profile job, and honestly, I don't care, and I don't need my colleagues to know what kind of bags I own and use. I also don't want to fall victim to crime. Yeah, depends on where you work. There are some places that will be more susceptible to crime. Where I live in the US, a tough time for a lot of people. It's best not to show what you have. I'm also looking forward to retiring in several years, so scaling back has also been on my mind. Yep, totally agree with that. If you need to scale back, definitely scale back. Retirement is expensive. Thank you for putting out this video and reminding me to think about my future. And yes, if any of you are not thinking about your future, you reach a point when you do have to think about it. Probably it's not something I really thought about in my 20s and 30s, but yeah, by about like my age, yeah, you do think a lot more about it. So another comment, it's in French, but because I have horrible French from Sandrine, I'm going to translate this via Google Translate. So if the Google Translate wrong, I apologize, but my French is not that great. So good analysis. I have the impression that this trend is becoming more widespread. Yeah, possibly. In Strasbourg, I see few Hermes bags and a lot of counterfeit bags. Dior, Vuitton, YSL. When I go out with my Birkin, it's hidden in a Primark tote bag. So yes, I think counterfeit bags have been around for a long time. I remember growing up, there were a lot of fake LV and Gucci bags, and then later on it was Chanel, and now even Hermes. So I'm not going to judge anyone for using what they use. If you want to use whatever you want to use, just use whatever you want to use. I don't support the people who are using the proceeds of the counterfeit bags to do crime and all that stuff, but you do you use whatever you want to use. But I agree that being more discreet, you have more peace of mind, especially in some areas of the world, then yeah, just carry something that's a bit more discreet. I do have a rain cover for some of my Hermes bags. I haven't shown it on my channel yet, but I have considered using those to cover up my bag, especially it rains a lot, and also to be more discreet. But then sometimes I feel like, what's the point, right? So yeah, maybe I could do that. But like I said, when I'm on the bus or what they call the MTR or the MRT, the SkyTrain, I've been pushed and shoved a couple times, right? Just last week, some guy took his laptop and smashed it against my arm, and that was painful, And yeah, luckily I am safe and I'm okay. I have no bruises, but I don't want that to be like scraping against my nice handbags, right? And I'm sure none of you would want that. So Binny5576, I can understand all that. I felt the same way recently. Designer bags or chasing the latest trend are not socially accepted everywhere in the world. And it's true. I have friends who are appalled at what I spend on some of my luxury items, and it's not socially accepted everywhere. So I think it depends on your environment, where you live in the world, who you hang out with. It's different strokes for different folks, and you do you do whatever suits your lifestyle, but I totally get it that it's not socially accepted everywhere in the world. I don't think many people realize that. For me, this realization was liberating. It's so true. And I even feel that moving from Hong Kong to Vancouver, like, man, this is turning into a really long video because I just had to change the battery. So I'm back. So as I was saying, I moved from Asia to North America, and definitely it's a different lifestyle, and what I carry to work and leisurely is not always socially acceptable depending on where you live. And if you don't believe me, go travel to places like Hong Kong and Singapore, and you will see it's very different from the West. My good friend MK, it's been such a long time I haven't watched your videos, and this one was top-notch. Thank you so much, MK. And I really admire MK. He's been a collector of Chanel for a very long time. Amazing clothing collection. He also carries a lot of name brands, like fashion brands that we also share that we really love. So I kind of knew you would end up reaching this phase once you would get home. Yeah, exactly. This is what happened. Same situation here in Paris or even all around Europe. Safety has become such a concerning issue here that it may be wiser to remain low-key. Over the past 12 months, I have carried my quota bags no more than 5 times. Wow, only 5 times in the last 12 months. You see, I would feel it's kind of wasteful, but then yeah, I would still kind of hang on to them for now. I usually reach for my picotin or my garden party, less recognizable wherever I go out. And yeah, it's exactly. I don't own the garden party, but I have been using my picotin whenever, even for my picotin, because it doesn't have a zipper. I need to be comfortable that where I'm going, I won't be pickpocketed, which is most places have been okay, but I definitely would say I have been carrying more my picotin and my mini Lindy. Next comment is from Aniki Kusumodyarjo. Sorry if I said it wrong. I don't carry them anymore now because it's so hyped and overexposed. And you know what? To some extent, I do feel a bit that way. You know, when I was starting my collection, Chanel was not as common, Hermes was not as common, but you kind of see it so much on social media, or maybe because I'm exposing myself to social media a lot, you feel that it's overly hyped and overexposed. Definitely, there have been more robberies to do with Hermes bags, whereas it wasn't as common before, right? Usually people are more like snatching your watch or your cash, but because it's been so overhyped, I feel like more people know what a Birkin and Kelly are, say like versus like 20 years ago. We can't be low key anymore, but like you, I too have had a huge lifestyle change. I am semi retired. Congratulations. Welcome to the club. And I moved from Singapore to New Zealand. Amazing. So, very similar. You're moving into an environment where it's definitely less luxury items and more Mother Nature everywhere you go. Where I live now, most people are wearing hiking gear. Yeah, exactly. Like in Vancouver, people are wearing a lot of athleisure, Columbia, Patagonia, North Face, and you do see a lot of Canada Goose also. Wait, did you move to Canada since we last chatted about Berenia? Yes, I moved to Vancouver, Canada. So thanks for sharing your thoughts. This topic resonates with me as I've been thinking about growing older and how many of my bags no longer suit me. Well, I'm sure they suit you, but whether they suit your lifestyle, only I think you can answer that. Or maybe you just want to keep them to enjoy, and that's perfectly okay also. I might do a video response to you. Oh, so you're also on YouTube. So yeah, so let me know if you do make a video. I'd love to see your response to this. So pink socks, love this transition. Please do more chats on this. So this is the video, and again, I'm sorry if this is too long. Break it up if you need to, but yeah, this is just like a great chit chat. So I've reached the last comment. It is a very lengthy one, but also a great one. It's from someone called Sunday Rose, so I really appreciate your comment. So she says, this is one of the best videos ever. Thanks for making this, Clara. Thank you. So I guess inevitably this kind of video would have come, and you know, these commentaries, you know, kind of reaffirm a lot of people are thinking about this. It's so true and very reflective. It is, yeah. And you know, I always wanted to do videos that were more true and more reflective of my lifestyle, just kind of like sharing, you know, just kind of like a sister or sisterhood type of sharing. As someone who has moved from Asia to Canada, welcome to Canada. This is 100% true for me too. Yes. So firstly, lifestyle aspect plays a big part. Like you said, I do hear sarcasm and negative comments at work made about a lady who carries designer bags. Oh, that's really sad. They really shouldn't, because, you know, if someone has kind of worked hard for it and earned it, I think it's perfectly fine. The younger workforce carries Coach the most. I agree. I do see some Coach, and there are the older workforce like myself who really don't give a damn anymore to carry designer bags, but are very rare to find. There's almost nothing in between. Oh, interesting. Okay. And it's true, at my age, I just don't really care anymore. Occasionally, I see a Neverfull. Yes, I've seen a couple of Neverfulls. It's still a great bag. And even for me, when I carry my Kelly 25, I turn it to the other side so that no one knows it's a Kelly 25. The buckle is hidden. Okay. You're braver than me, because I really have not carried my Kelly 25 to work. Firstly, I travel on public transit, and also I don't know, I just don't want people to, I just don't want to deal with the drama of anyone talking about my bag. So long ago when I was working in Asia, everyone carried a designer bag. Yes, this is so true. Secondly, the community here in Canada, the Asian community that we mix and blend into here are smaller circles of people. And it's not people who have seen us from beginning to now. That is so true. There are some people who I've known from childhood. I was born and I grew up here, and they're totally not in the luxury, but there's like a big kind of like an 18-year gap where they did not hang out with me. They were not with me. There are a couple who know I'm on social media and have seen these videos, but not everyone kind of knows the environment or the type of work I was doing during this 18 years gap. So this is true. So with that, there are ladies who gossip. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And to be honest, you don't really need it at this age. I find I can't choose who is in the circle and who is not. So I'm a little sorry to hear that, but like bags, you can choose which circles you want to be in and you don't want to be in. So yeah, if it's toxic, get out and go find a better circle. So to get into a clique that is already tight and loves to gossip, the last thing one would need is for them to talk about one's bag collection. And yeah, I don't really want anyone to be focusing on my bag collection because there are other things to talk about, right? I learned things the hard way, and not because I'm showing off, but because where I came from, these things are normal things. And yes, I understand that because this was also very normal when I lived in Hong Kong. But I'm sorry to hear that you have to experience that here in Canada. But yeah, it's good to be discreet if you want to kind of avoid situations like that. And, there are a lot of situations where I'm not carrying nicer things because I just really don't want to go into that drama if there is the potential for that drama. But here, because most ladies aren't in the workforce, they feel things differently. So yeah, I don't know which circle you're with. If you're retired, maybe they will look at things differently. But even if you're working, not all office environments, people are carrying or using nice things. Believe me when I say I have lost many friends this way and have to go through this. And yes, I'm really sorry you had to go through this, and I hope you can find a better group of circles that you can relate to without having to feel these kind of negative feelings. Today, I'm sticking with what I do best and love best. I find alternatives for being in friendship with people. When I have to go to gatherings, which involves Asian circles, I carry my free Lululemon shopping tote. Yes, the lunch bag. And thirdly, there's a huge emphasis here on health and wellness. People in Canada spend their time and their energy and resources for anything health, which is really true. A lot of people are carrying Lululemon, and to be honest, for what it is kind of like branded. There's kind of like a cult following for Lululemon here. It is, yes, cheaper, but even for some people, Lululemon is a luxury, and anything health is always good. So it's a great idea to get very good gear and activewears and start something healthy. And yes, I agree with that. It's always good to be doing something healthy as we age. I think it's really important, not only to be physically healthy, but also kind of like mentally and spiritually healthy, because, over time, things kind of go downhill. And so focusing on health is great, right? You want to be able to look after yourself. You'll find better and healthier circle of friends and community in those types of activities. Forget the shopping buddy that we do in Asia. Don't let anyone have a reason to say something behind your back. Oh my goodness, this comment is so long, lol. I love your videos and it resonates. Yeah, and just reacting to that, I don't really have any shopping buddies, so to speak, here in Canada. To be honest, I just don't even feel motivated to shop here because, first of all, my lifestyle has changed. And secondly, to be honest, there is nothing exciting to shop for here in Canada other than what I use at the gym and, the couple pairs of pants and shirts that I rotate for work. I generally will shop for that, but I'm generally just not shopping that much anymore because it's just, you know, it's Canada. There's like less choices, less to see. It's raining all the time. After work, I just want to go home. So I loved your video and it resonates. These days, if I buy designer, it's investing in ready-to-wear pieces that can be used in this weather. Agreed. For example, my rain jacket and my inexpensive rain jacket that I wear almost every day, those are worth it. So you'll find the silly expensive brands like Loro Piana do very well here and their coats. Actually, Loro Piana, I haven't really seen their shops as much. They have quite a few in Asia. I have a couple of kind of like cashmere sweaters that I purchased during the times I was in Hermes, and then I also have some kind of high street brands. And honestly, I've been just wearing those all the time just because it's just cold and raining here all the time. I don't know if I'm gonna still shop kind of Loro Piana, and if you can and you can afford to, definitely go for it. It's definitely more discreet. Money is best spent here for traveling, experiences, food, health, lifestyle, and retirement planning. So yeah, this is so true. As your lifestyle and your surroundings evolve, then where you spend your money will change over time. But I think in summary, as you can see here, as we age or our lifestyle changes, your spending and attitude towards luxury will evolve over time. And there's nothing wrong with still going for it. If you're still in the life stage where you're still aspiring and collecting nice things for yourself, there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody works hard for their luxury, or maybe you've been very lucky and you've received them over time. Whatever the situation, it doesn't matter, right? So as you can see from a lot of these videos, it appears that some of my followers, and it's really nice to know some of you are also transitioning because you're either in life transition, you move to a different country, or you're in semi-retirement. If you are in a life stage where you're still collecting these beautiful items, or you're still aspiring to go for it, definitely go for it and enjoy them and be happy with them. But it was just nice to kind of share thoughts and have community with people who have similar thoughts or are thinking about these things. And not too many people talk about this on their YouTube channels. So I think it was kind of nice and refreshing to see this, and also to kind of share everyone's experience and what they're going through. But definitely there are many of us who can resonate with life transitions or a change in lifestyle. And that's okay, because growing up, you might have been chasing after different handbags, right? Don't get mad at me if suddenly I'm buying Kate Spade one day and then buying LV the next, and then getting into Chanel and Hermes. Things can change. It's fluid, and that's really all right. There's no real right or wrong here. I think it really just depends on where you are in your life stage and what you're aspiring to do, and your surroundings, where you live, and the changes in the economy and your lifestyle that will all change. So there's nothing wrong with it. And so, as I said, if you're still into it, that's perfectly fine. But if you're transitioning, that's also perfectly fine and normal too. But it's just been great to share and talk about this with everyone. And I have no idea how long this video is going to be. Hopefully it's not going to be an hour long, but it's been really great to just kind of share the thoughts of myself and others in our community. I thought it was great. I would consider doing this over a live, but like I said, I don't know if I can even get 20 people on the live, and some of you are in different time zones. So I thought this was a great place to just kind of share, and I hope some of you don't mind that I've kind of shared your experiences. It's really just great wisdom for those of us who are considering this, so I really appreciate your comments. And so yeah, it's been a very long video, so thank you so much for listening to me go on and on about this topic. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if there are any other topics you want to discuss, let me know, and maybe we can discuss that and have a bit of a community sharing this way. This video is probably, I don't know how long it's going to take me to edit, given the length of the video. And I hope it's been helpful to you and inspiring to you. So if you have any other comments, please feel free to leave them down below. But thank you so much for listening to this very long-winded video, and We'll see you next time. Bye bye now.